Commissioner reports, Dana?
Yes.
Okay, I think on the frac sand side, I think we're going to have Rick come forward with a little something, is that correct?
Yeah, Rick, did you want to talk about that for Jay or no?
Can you turn down the gain on the speakers?
Can we turn down?
We're getting feedback.
Let's turn the mics off.
I think the
because-
gain.
Maybe there's no maybe press pushing them back. Or do you want them off?
I heard Teresa was sound really hot.
It's,
Her mic is hot.
I turned it off.
Just to bring the commissioners up to date here, I know we met probably 3 weeks ago, closed sessions in regard to some potential litigation on a matter of a mine. Since that time, with our discussions with our attorney, there's been new information given back to the county in regard to that mine. And it was given to myself. I did forward that information on to our land use attorney, and and some of the state agencies to get some feedback from them. I'm since waiting on that. It kind of sheds a different perspective on the position that that we have right now. Like I said, I will be bringing, that as this unfolds in the near future. I've been also working with the county attorney on it also for some legal opinions on it too. And we'll be bringing that back all to the board here probably in the very near future. I
think what it comes down to is that we have a reapplication, I guess, for a sand pit.
Well, we have, what we have is yes, we have a permit that's been put on hold.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of time, and there's been
It has the potential for being very controversial.
yes, and then like I said, that before we come back to the board with everything, I want to make sure one way or another we know as a county where we're at and what's legal, what isn't legal, and what our process is going to be going forward.
We need to decide, do we want it, Jay Squires, our attorney, present, I guess, for any kind of legal questions that may arise.
Yeah, I think it would be valuable that they be here to answer any questions in person.
That's I guess I asked the committee this morning on if that's the avenue you want to go as a full board, so that down the road, legal questions that may arise out of this as it's going through the process, that he's probably here to explain that position.
If I understand correctly, this is really not going to be, what is it, an advertised public meeting? Is that right? Or is this going to just go through?
Well, the
planning and
application's
zoning?
still sitting there.
Okay.
And what we're doing to do is just probably move it forward.
Yeah.
Through the planning commission and the county board.
Mm-hmm. And time is critical in this situation because if we do nothing, it becomes a legal mine within 60 days.
There's a statute that says counties do have 60 days or has to make a determination within 60 days on permit applications like this. That clock is ticking.
Mm-hmm.
State law says if the government does not act within 60 days, it's an automatic approval. And we want to make sure that this goes, that this proceeds, but that we also do it properly, the permit, in the timely fashion and the time frame we got.
And for all those present, I guess we're trying to be transparent with this also.
Yes.
Permit.
Erickson's.
I guess goes to planning and zoning first?
Yes.
Okay. And then comes to us.
Yeah. But I do want to make sure from our land use attorney and plus the state agencies that we have everything properly in order.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to see no glitches.
I guess,
right. To make sure that we've got everything covered.
If we get sued, we win, period.
Yes.
That's good.
So.
Thank you.
I will, what I'll do is I'll have this discussion with our land use attorney, Jay, and walk this through with him, and then at a later date have that meeting, then when a permit comes available to the county board to have him present, that is what you're telling me.
Yes,
What's everyone's thoughts?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, yes.
For the sake of your audience, do you want to identify the mine in question? You have a lot of people here.
It's the Erickson quarry. And I guess there's some other questions of Rick, is that? Or-
Real quick, just because it's kind of an interesting thing. On the frac sand thing, tidbit of useless information. Some of you may have seen the deal coming out of Canada with the rail lines, and we talked about earlier with the rail lines that are getting congested up there with all the oil going through North Dakota. That you got oats and wheat are getting backed up, not being able to get through to the United States. So it's just kind of interesting how all the rail lines that are getting used up right now to move all of this oil is having an adverse effect on our commodities and the farmers and not being able to get that wheat and rye out of Canada down to the U.S. And it actually went so far as now that the Canadian government this last weekend had basically said you will be increasing this from this 2,500 cars to 5,000 to get this commodity out of the country because it's having an adverse effect in raising commodity prices. So it's kind of interesting how one thing affects something else and how we're getting some of these.
Dominoes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of a tidbit of useless information that's kind of neat to ponder and put in the back of your head. So
The other thing I've been hearing too is, I think the Bakkens, they had originally planned on 5,000 oil wells. That has expanded to 50,000, or was expanded to 50,000. Now I think from the rumors I hear, it's going to 150,000 oil wells up there. It's just growing exponentially.
there's a neat thing too for anybody out there. There's a company called Hughes, and they're used by all kinds of companies and media sources. And it's basically they keep tabs on all the oil wells that are currently in production in the United States. So it'll show all of them where they're at, which ones are on and actively working, and which ones aren't. So it's kind of a neat thing to see. And then legislation was passed that right now the United States has surpassed Russia for being the #1 producer of natural gas. In 2015, they are going to now allow legislation to export natural gas because currently the United States doesn't export it. So it'll be interesting to see what prices do when you start involving other countries bringing demand for it and stuff too. But so there's a lot of activity going on in the oil well drilling and natural gas and fracking industry. That it's interesting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner report, Dana.